As a lawyer, you would never leave things to luck or chance for your clients, would you? So don't keep tolerating it when your bookkeeper and your accountant leaves the profitability of your law firm to luck or chance either.
While RJon was away, Team RJon came to play. Well, the cat's out of the bag now, folks, but we're still here bringing you our favorite and most importantly, actionable insights to RJon's newest book, Profit First for Lawyers. We're going to help you accelerate your law firm's growth so that you can experience more profit in every aspect of your life. We're also going to be providing some behind-the-scenes footage at what it's really like to work with RJon Robbins. So, put your BS aside for the next few minutes and put yourself, your family, your firm, and your profit first. Welcome back to another episode of the Profit First for Lawyers podcast. I'm your host, Carly, and today we're traveling back to RJon's classroom to continue our discussion on GAAP and why it probably wasn't meant for you. If you missed episode 29 and are not sure what I'm talking about, go back and take a listen. We've got that episode linked in our show notes below. For now, Professor RJon has entered the building. Strap in, folks. Things are about to get spicy. When last we left our heroes, RJon spoke about the history of GAAP and why it was created. Here's a few minutes from the last episode as a quick primer of where we left off. Take it away, Professor.
But if you're thinking to yourself, you didn't pick up this book to learn how to invest in the stock market, and your law firm isn't a publicly traded company, I'm going to repeat this for you for the third time. Your law firm is not a publicly traded company. So by now, maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, this has nothing to do with me. Yes, that's the whole point. GAAP has nothing to do with you. That's the whole point of this chapter. GAAP has nothing to do with you.
Okay, now we're in the mood. I think this is a good time to remind you that if you have any questions or comments or feedback, and maybe you do after that, send us an email at podcast@profitfirstforlawyers.com. Let's let RJon continue.
Generally accepted accounting principles were created by a committee that was formed following the Securities Act of 1933. The committee was charged with the responsibility to come up with a set of accounting principles that the whole committee could generally agree on. In other words, this is what we won't argue too much about. This is one giant compromise. That's what GAAP is. More importantly, GAAP was created for the convenience of regulators. It wasn't created to maximize your profits. It wasn't created to help you or me manage our businesses. It was created to help regulators who needed to have standards to regulate the entire financial market following the stock market crashes of 1929. How else were they supposed to regulate the reporting requirements of thousands and thousands of different companies? Regulators needed a way to standardize the reporting requirements and make comparisons and monitor compliance by thousands of different companies operating in a wide range of different industries. And while it's generally a good thing to establish a standard within a financial market, what has that got to do with the business of running your small law firm that doesn't issue securities to anyone? The answer is nothing. And yet, your accountant, and likely your bookkeepers too, are trained to get and keep your law firm in compliance with GAAP. This means that while the method being used to manage the finances and produce profits in your law firm may be accurate and generally accepted, they could be so much better. And yes, I know I am repeating myself a lot in this video, but that is only because it is your financial life that we are talking about. So no, I don't mind repeating myself if it saves your family's financial future.
You have heard all of us on Team RJon say it several times before, and I hope you felt that personally too, that RJon's personal mission is to fight for your full potential, and he really means it. GAAP was not meant for you, and it wasn't meant for RJon either, which he's going to explain in the next little bit. The floor is yours, Professor.
And although you may be a bold and independent thinker when it comes to the practice of law and in other areas of life, there's a very good chance that you have been thinking a lot like a lemming when it comes to the profitability of your law firm. Now, to be fair, I never even thought twice about why I was supposed to keep track of my financials using GAAP until I began suffering the ill effects of it, and I had to rethink the whole thing. Why am I allowing a bookkeeper or an accountant to dictate to me how much profit I'm going to enjoy from my business? Whose rules am I following? Do they even make sense for me? Why am I doing it this way? What's the best thing that could happen if I did things differently? What's the worst thing that could happen if I did things differently? It turns out the best thing is now into the multiple 8 figures in my life. And the worst thing was a few heated discussions with some accountants and some bookkeepers who I don't even remember their names anymore.
Whew, that's powerful. It's funny because I seem to get different thoughts and inspirations from this chapter every time I read it. Listening to this clip back, it made me think of episode 24 when Larry Brown said that niceness doesn't save you money. Or, in other words, the people who got you here are not necessarily going to be the people who get you there. There being your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, the place that you want to end up. Okay, let's dive back in. Here's RJon.
GAAP also tends to disempower law firm owners because it treats profit as a side effect, as if it's a matter of luck or chance whether or not your law firm will be profitable or not. It is so much better in so many ways when you treat your profit as a program instead of a matter of chance. As a lawyer, you would never leave things to luck or chance for your clients, would you? So don't keep tolerating it when your bookkeeper and your accountant leaves the profitability of your law firm to luck or chance either. GAAP also messes with your mindset because it explicitly encourages the notion that we as entrepreneurs should work for our businesses instead of our businesses working for us. Think about the premise behind GAAP. Revenues less expenses equals profit. This formula reflects the following line of thinking. You're going to work however hard you must work to get your law firm to generate revenue, and then you're going to let everyone else, including your vendors and your professional service providers and your employees, line up and take as much of the revenue as they want, and then you and your family will find a way to survive on whatever's left over. That's what GAAP tells you to do. That is an unhealthy relationship to have between you and your business. It creates an environment and a mindset that breeds all kinds of poor business decisions that ultimately hurt your clients and hurt your staff. And, oh yeah, by the way, it hurts you and your family too. But there's obviously a better way, or I wouldn't be writing this book and shooting this video. One of the biggest benefits of Profit First is that when you take your profits out first, you force the business to live on what's left over, and suddenly it gets to benefit from your creative brilliance as an entrepreneur to spark ingenuity and efficiency in your organization. This is a healthy thing for your law firm, and it's not only professionally gratifying for you as the owner, but it's so much more financially profitable too. I know, I've been going on and on about this. It's only because I care so much about this. I've seen how much damage this does to so many thousands of small law firm owners and how much better their lives can be when we turn this stuff around. So I'm just going to say these final words on this point, and I'm just going to hope that I've said enough to empower you to stand up and advocate for yourself the next time your accountant or your bookkeeper preach that GAAP is gospel. GAAP sucks.
Oh man, I don't even have a financial team, but I want to go talk to mine now. I love this chapter. And that's what we've got for you today, folks. I hope this 2-parter episode has been really valuable for you and that you've gotten tons of actionable insight from these lessons. If you haven't snagged your copy of the book yet, make sure that you head to profitfirstforlawyers.com and order your copy today. Stay tuned next time for more actionable insights. We'll see you there. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Profit First for Lawyers. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, tell a friend. And buy your copy of the book at profitfirstforlawyers.com. Your future self will thank you for it. And we will see you next time.